Good morning. My name is Joe Vandal, and I am the last Rosicrucian. Today we're going to begin a new series of videos called Sacred Sexuality, and this is going to be just an introduction to the topic. I hope to have several videos on the subject, and let's get into it. I've covered Gaia's ascension for quite a few years now, since actually 2010 when I was doing that. And I've also been working with these concepts of sacred sexuality for probably over 30 years. And what I'm sharing, what I'm about to share, is dealing with personal experience. It's not book knowledge or something like that. I'm just going to try to talk from my heart and share what I know. I could know a lot more, but I do know more than a lot of people. Now, with Gaia's ascension, we talk about the return of the feminine. And the feminine is dealing with human sexuality. It's dealing with sexuality. This is one of the main things, because the feminine has been demonized, sexuality has been demonized. And now, as we start the new energies of a new great cycle, we're beginning at the lowest levels where every great cycle starts, and that's the energy of empowerment. Every great cycle begins with the feminine and it ends with the masculine. The cycle we've just finished was dealing with the masculine, was dealing with Christianity and the third eye center. Okay, this is a graduation, but it's an interesting graduation because it's talking about basically full spectrum ascension, which means every level of human experience, from the crown chakra down to the root chakra to the lowest chakra, is possible. However you determine those, it's full spectrum. And that's never happened before. In the past, typically the male connected to the crown chakra energies and the female connected to the root chakra energies. And that's part of the problem. That was part of the demonization of the feminine. They were in conflict with each other. That's no longer the case, because for the first time, both the male and the female can experience the full spectrums of energies that life allows. So that's exciting. It's an exciting thing. We talked about, okay, if you talk about sacred sexuality, you're going to talk about tantra. Tantrism. It came out, what we know about it was maybe the 4th century AD. Okay, when some of the first tantric teachings came out. But the reality is, the teachings of human sexuality and the development of the soul through human sexuality and love relationships has existed forever. The thing is, it's been a feminine thing, because the feminine, the female, is the ruler of the sexual energies. Okay, Tantra and alchemy, alchemical teachings, the Hermetic teachings and stuff, they were created for males. They were not created for females. Because human sexuality is natural for females. It's not natural in that sense for males. And that's part of what we are going to cover and get into in this series. Because energetically, physically, and psychologically, there are real differences between males and females. And it's about time that we were honest about those things. To just, because the human soul is a balance of both male and female energies. Okay? We have both male and female inside of us, in our souls. But our physical bodies are either going to be male or female. They're either going to have XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes. And you can't, an XX or a female chromosome is not going to generate male energy. It's not going to generate XY chromosome energy. And an XY chromosome is not going to generate XX or female energies. They just physically can't do that. However, the development and creation and empowerment of the soul requires both. And the only way that this can happen is through sharing, the exchange of male and female energies between two partners. Okay, this is how the soul develops. It's through love. And this is a natural, like I said, it's natural for the female, but the teachings of tantra and the teachings of alchemy and hermeticism are for the males so that they can understand and walk this path. Now, one of the things we're talking about is duality, because the universe is created in duality. If you take Newton's law, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's duality, and that's the concept of male and female. And our world is currently, the bulk of the world is currently been brainwashed to believe that opposites are in conflict, good and evil, and that one's got to win over the other one. And so one's got to dominate. And that's the furthest thing from the truth, because it's not good and evil. It's not a battle between good and evil. It's more the yin-yang balance that's required. It's the balance of male and female in a loving embrace rather than a battle to the death over one or the other. And we can take this concept of duality far into, even into politics, because it's not the Republican side or the Democrat side. It's the yin-yang, it's the balance, because they're both coming from a perspective that there is a resolution to the paradox. There is a balancing point. There is a merging point. There is a stable point upon which they can both agree. But it has been lost. And in our society, that conflict between, for example, the liberals and the conservatives is a perversion and a distortion of this conflict between the masculine and the feminine, between the male and the female. the idea is the answer is not conflict. The answer is embrace, loving embrace, to find the validity with the other. Now, sacred sexuality and working with sexual energies has been vilified by control, the powers that be, uh, to deny human sexuality, to deny the power of sacred sexuality. That's been a very important aspect of how to control the population, because uh, it's too frightening. Owned, if people took their own sexuality into their own power, into their own control, they would empower themselves, and that is scary to the few elite that want that power for themselves. So that's the the vilification, the denial of sexuality, the repression of sexuality, and the repression of the feminine throughout history have gone hand in hand, because the feminine is representative of human sexuality and sacred sexuality. Anybody that looks at art uh, can realize how strongly inspired art is by the feminine. Uh, it inspires. Let's face it, the feminine inspires art, inspires males. Okay, and there's a reciprocity, because the male, the spirituality, the philosophical strength, the ideas, the searching for ideas, the spirituality of the male inspires the female. Okay, that's one of the things that's important. But the female inspires the male just as well, but it inspires the male in a sensual, sexual way. And it's the balance. One is drawing one into the spiritual worlds, and one is drawing the other into the sensual worlds. And between the sharing of both is the full spectrum of what life has to offer. I see that I'm running out of time. I will continue this introduction in my next video. I'm trying to keep these videos under 15 minutes so that I can post them on YouTube, maybe get some more readers. So I will see you next week. Uh, Feel free to comment and share this. Anyway, thank you.